Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Project Infinite podcast, the podcast spanning the ever-expanding and infinite multiverse of fandom from movies, comics, TV shows, video games. We got you covered. The only podcast to not currently be owned by Elon Musk.
And we fought hard.
Look, if he wants to give me $43 billion for this, it's going to be a tough sell.
It is going to be a tough sell.
I'm not willing to sacrifice that.
How are we going to sacrifice being the leading, foremost frontier on Oppenheimer? We can't give that up. No.
We've planted our flag on a corner.
Yeah.
And we're sticking to it.
This is Andrew Garfield, Oppenheimer, Fast and Furious, and Dune. And Jonathan Major snuck in there last week. We are making sure their legacy continues.
I'm Rob. I'm here as always with Courtney. And Court, what's going on?
I'm doing good.
Good.
You know what makes me happy? When somebody new gets cast in Oppenheimer. Yes. That makes me happy.
That is going to be the first topic of our news this week. But we are going to talk about Doctor Strange this week.
Yes.
As has been the theme for the last 2 weeks. Everything we've done has been leading up to Multiverse of Madness. And this week is going to be kind of a Doctor Strange, kind of, where are they now?
Yeah, where are they now?
How did they get here? I guess.
And it's also going to be a texting and driving PSA.
Yeah. But before that, we do have some news, and just when you thought we were out, they pulled us back in.
Right.
Another casting has been revealed for Oppenheimer. NBA All-Star Game style.
Yep.
Who else is in this movie?
Oscar winner Casey Affleck is in this movie.
Yeah, so Casey Affleck has been cast.
You know the only thing they can do now is cast Ben Affleck in the movie as well.
He's too busy making a Michael Jordan
Nike movie? Yeah.
Nike movie. With Matt Damon.
Yeah.
They're back.
Very Boston of them.
Yeah, I guess.
It's going to be like Good Will Hunting Part 2. What if Michael Jordan was in this?
But yeah, so I thought this movie was filming. I thought we were going full steam ahead, and Christopher Nolan is just like picking people off the street, I guess, at this point.
Casey Affleck was just on his way to another film set, and he was just like, hey man, you want to be an Oppenheimer?
For probably like a minute and a half.
Oh, it's going to be great. It's going to be Cameos the movie, and I can't wait for it.
Christopher Nolan saw Spider-Man No Way Home and was like,
What if I did that? What if I did that, but World War II?
So yeah, much like the rest of our Oppenheimer news, we don't really have much to say about it.
No.
It just needs to be put out into the ether that this is happening.
Right.
And don't be surprised if like 2 months from now, like when this film is wrapped, they're going to be like, so-and-so has been casted in Oppenheimer.
Right.
Charles Barkley.
Yeah, put Charles Barkley in there. Charles Barkley was getting cooked by Kevin Durant this morning, I'll tell you that much.
Like, look, Oppenheimer, this is a terrible idea.
Yeah, this is terrible.
You built a nuclear bomb.
Don't do that. Don't do that. It's not the good decision for the world.
Speaking of nuclear bombs, Sony has dropped
an absolute mammoth bomb on everybody.
Yeah. So they came out with some news about the future of their films, Spider-Man in particular, because that's their bag. Their only bag at this point is Spider-Man and Spider-Man adjacent movies. Asked the critically acclaimed Morbius about that.
Our favorite movie of the year.
Yeah.
My favorite movie of the year so far.
Easily. So they did have some news. The first one, which we're going to get out of the way before all the Spider-Man stuff, is they're making a sequel to Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, it did.
The movie did well. It was well received.
I enjoyed that movie quite a bit. A lot more than I thought I would.
Me too.
And I think it was the perfect balance of that nostalgia era that we're living in, mixed with, something new and some freshness added to it.
I actually kind of forgot about that movie in terms of, like, all this other stuff that is doing this thing.
Right.
With, like, Spider-Man No Way Home and Jurassic Park is coming back.
Matrix did it. I
kind of forgot about Ghostbusters, but I do really enjoy Afterlife. I thought it was really good. The new cast, the old cast. I wonder if this is going to be like their spring off point for we're just going to focus on the young cast now.
Right.
Like we gave you what you want, nerds, and now
you got your fan service, and
now we're actually going to tell. Not that the last movie didn't tell a story, but this is going to be totally focused on kind of the new cast of Ghostbusters, which, if that's what they're going to do, is a good idea, because I think people really, nostalgia aside, I think people really did enjoy that new cast too. Spearheaded by, of course, Stranger Things film Finn Wolfhard, who, just did like Stranger Things adjacent.
Right.
For
and accompanied by America's Sweetheart. Paul Rudd.
Yes.
It doesn't hurt to have Paul Rudd in your movie.
Never hurts to have Paul Rudd in your movie. Anytime. Christopher Nolan.
Yeah. Call it Paul Rudd.
Get Paul Rudd in
Have him
Oppenheimer.
be like the bumbling like guy with the papers that runs in and be like, I got it. That's the perfect role for Paul Rudd.
Yeah, so you heard it here first. Paul Rudd for Oppenheimer. Make it happen.
Yeah. Do the right thing.
But other than that, they dumped us with a bunch of Spider-Man stuff. So first and foremost, Venom 3 confirmed. I don't think anyone's surprised.
I know you're not surprised.
I'm not surprised. But as far as these other non-Spider-Man Spider-Man movies, Venom has definitely been the most successful.
I guess you didn't see Morbius.
No, I saw Morbius. It wasn't successful. It doesn't mean I didn't like it, but it wasn't successful.
We don't, just to clear this up, we liked Morbius for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
I just want to. It's not a good movie at all.
No, it's not. But
sometimes you got to go in there and just laugh for a little bit. If you look at Morbius as a soap opera comedy, 10 out of 10.
We had fun with it.
Yeah.
Basically. So Venom 3, not surprised. They set up a couple story elements.
Yeah, they did.
What is it? Toxin?
Yeah, Toxin was the big one.
Toxin is coming?
Right. Cool.
Yep. Sure. I mean, look, Venom's the only character that they can seem to get
This
any
is
mileage
the only
on.
thing about this whole Venom universe thing that they're trying to do. They know they want a Spider-Man in there, and they're just doing movies, and they're like, ooh, it'd be a shame if somebody threw a Spider-Man in there, and they're just waiting for it.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, we will get to that.
I'm saving the big one for the end.
Yeah.
So the middle bit is the important bit, because this is the movies that people actually enjoy.
Yeah, the
Sony.
actual good movies.
So Into the Spider-Verse 2, aka Across the Spider-Verse, has been pushed back from October to June. 6-month delay. Fine. You know.
That movie was supposed to come out during my birthday.
Take your time with it. This is the only good movie franchise that you currently have. So just make it good.
Yeah.
And then the other news related to that was that this was supposed to be a Part 1, Part 2 deal. Part 2 has been renamed to Beyond the Spider-Verse. And that has been pegged for a March 29th, 2024 release. So,
which feels like so long away, but it's under 2 years, which is just crazy to think about. That's under 2 years.
It's crazy to think about that the other one was supposed to come out in like 5 months.
Right.
You know? But yeah, you can't say enough good things about Into the Spider-Verse. Mm-hmm. It's one of across any film franchise, it's one of the best superhero movies ever.
Right.
I don't think that's going too far or anything saying that. It's definitely up there in terms of best Spider-Man movies of all time.
Best animated movies, period.
Yep. So anything that they can do, it seems that Across the Spider-Verse is going to be bigger in every way imaginable.
Right. There's intent behind every delay. Like, this is a delay I can believe in, because like Morbius was a delay I couldn't believe in. This is a delay that
they pushed Morbius back like a month.
Yeah.
Like a week when it was supposed to release.
Right. Just so Michael Keaton could be in there and be confused as to why he's in a new universe and still the Vulture. Yeah. Sorry about the spoilers if you guys didn't see the best movie of the last year.
The best post-credit scene of all time.
Where was he going? Where was Morbius driving to?
Where did he get the suit?
Exactly. There's no Vulture in that universe.
There's no Adrian Tooze in that universe.
There's no Avengers.
According to the news.
Right. And the news never lies.
They would never
do that. Man stunned. He said, man found in jail cell, police stunned. The greatest headline I've ever seen in a movie. Oh, wow.
I don't know how I got here, but I think it has something to do with Spider-Man. What? We're not relitigating Morbius.
No, we don't have time for this.
But yeah, I think this story, Into the Spider-Verse kind of story, can go a multitude of directions. It seems like they basically has free reign now to do whatever they want. We know Oscar Isaac is coming back in a bigger role as Spider-Man 2099, which is cool. Obviously, Miles Morales is back. Gwen Stacy, or Spider-Gwen is back. A bunch of other things are coming. I would not be surprised if they could nab one of the three. Yep,
that's what I was about to say. I think one of them is going to be in the movie. I mean, honestly, to keep it safe, I think it's going to be very simple. It's just going to be Tom. If they're going to put him in one of the movies, it's just going to be him for a little bit. Especially where he is as a Spider-Man. He's just very discernible as just Spider-Man, not Peter Parker now.
I think they might do Andrew Garfield only because Disney Plus is doing their own Spider-Man animated thing.
Right.
That's supposed to be about Tom Holland Spider-Man. I don't know if he's voicing that character or if it's going to be somebody else.
I feel like it might be somebody else just because of the whole Sony deal. So.
Yeah. So I don't know if they'd want to throw like their Spider-Man in 2 different animated projects. So I could see them doing Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
Because Tobey Maguire is already kind of represented in that franchise, sort of, with the Peter B. Parker is basically an analog for the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
Right.
So I could see them throwing Andrew Garfield in there as an animated version of the Amazing Spider-Man.
Right.
Especially if this other thing that they're trying to do doesn't exactly work.
Yeah.
They got to slot Andrew Garfield in somehow.
Right. And animated is not a bad place to start, especially with the caliber of movie you're dealing with.
And that character I think would be real cool in animation.
Oh my gosh, yeah. That would be amazing.
And then the last bit of news for Sony, the Sony news dump.
And this was the mic drop. This was supposed to be the mic drop.
This was crazy.
Yeah, this was...
I had to check to make sure this was real.
Yeah.
So
I saw Twitter and I was just like, oh, we're getting trolled.
Yeah. So are you familiar with the Spider-Man character El Muerto?
Okay, so I've read a decent amount of comics. Like I think I'm pretty well versed. Like, I know there was, like, this running joke that, like, people didn't know who America Chavez is. Like, I knew who America Chavez was, like, first trailer. I have no earthly idea who El Muerto is.
Apparently he's appeared in a grand total of 2 issues of Spider-Man comics. Mm-hmm. And, alright, so it's not a movie, right? He's just going to be in a thing?
No, I thought they said he was in his own movie.
Oh, boy. Alright. See, I didn't know that part.
Yeah, this is something.
So yes, El Muerto is being played by none other than global superstar phenomenon Bad Bunny is getting a lead role apparently in the El Muerto Sony Spider-Universe project.
Yep.
Why?
Yep. Sony has announced El Muerto, a Spider-Man spin-off film that will star Bad Bunny as Marvel's first live-action Latino lead. This is a movie that's happening.
Stunned silence.
Yeah.
There's no way this movie comes out, right?
The only thing that keeps telling me that this movie is going to get made somehow is because it's Bad Bunny. Yeah, that's playing him. That's why I feel like this is something. I feel like Bad Bunny was trying to like get more roles because isn't he in Bullet Train?
Yes.
So he's in Bullet Train, so he's probably like, I want to act more. Sony's in a bad spot. I'll be in that. And they were like,
El Muerto is what? He's a wrestler?
I believe so.
Bad Bunny loves wrestling. For anybody who doesn't know, he wrestled at WrestleMania last year and absolutely kind of stole the show. So he loves wrestling, and I would not be surprised if he also loves Spider-Man because he seems like that kind of guy. And, you know, look, get your bag, Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, we're not mad at you, Bad Bunny. No. You're absolutely not the...
No,
this isn't your fault.
We love Bad Bunny here at the Project Infinite podcast.
Yeah, let's add him to the pantheon.
Bad Bunny?
Now Sony.
We gotta wait for more Bad Bunny news to drop before we can add him to the pantheon.
Now Sony. In the words of Joe Budden, why? What are we doing?
It's gotta be a thing where they're just like looking at their roster of like properties that they own that have something to do with Spider-Man, and they're like, Yup. I guess.
Because of all the characters, that's the one. El Muerto. I'm like stunned. Like I don't even have words for this.
It doesn't even seem real. Like nobody has attempted to do this.
This was the mic drop moment from the Sony panel at CinemaCon. A guy with 2 issues of backstory.
I mean, I guess it gives them free reign to kind of do whatever they want.
That's what I'm really nervous about, is the free reign thing of what they're going to do with this.
I just don't know how you do it.
Yeah, maybe Michael Keaton should show up again and be like, look, hey, I'm putting a team together.
Oh, imagine if El Muerto is the Sinister Six.
He's the 6th member? Oh, I'd love that. So who is it right now? Vulture, Morbius, El Muerto, Venom, Kraven, Madam Web.
Yes, I forgot Madam Web.
I hope Madam Web's not, but she's more of like a Nick Fury character to them. That would be great.
Man.
What is this?
I don't know, but El Muerto.
El Muerto.
I can't believe it. Alright, transitioning out of that and into another delay. The Mario movie got delayed until next year, April 7th, 2023.
Oh no.
Oh man. You hate to see it.
Yeah, you do hate to see it.
But I mean, fine.
It's an animated movie, right?
I believe so,
They should have done another live action one.
No.
Let Chris Pratt put on the mustache. Do another live action Mario movie.
That live action Mario movie is no good. It's no good.
You're just a hater. Yeah, we don't have much. It's delayed.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, look, they're looking. I mean, they're looking at Sonic and being like, "Yeah, we can do this too."
Yeah, we can do better.
Like, yeah,
and then it's all going to lead up to Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games 2008.
Yes, and then Super Smash Bros. As we talked about at the end of last week.
Yes.
All right, I guess we could transition to main topic now.
Yeah, when you're feeling sick, everybody needs to go to the doctor.
Yeah, Doctor Strange he's got a movie coming out.
Yeah, he does.
Believe it or not.
He does. And it's funny. This is the least like connected that I've been to a movie in a while, like to a brand new Marvel movie coming out. Like even Moon Knight, I was like getting ready. Like this one, I'm just letting this one come to me because I jumped the gun with Spider-Man No Way Home. Which, I mean, it's like a 70-30. 30% is my fault. 70% is the internet just can't keep their mouth shut. And then this one is very like, I'm just letting this one happen. It probably, equates to me being just overly, just super busy, but I don't know what it is. I'm just not like going out of my way to find anything because I have a feeling this movie's going to drop an absolute bomb or a couple. And I just want that theater reaction to be as pure as possible. So yeah,
I'm excited to see it. It's definitely going to be maybe the most ambitious Marvel movie that they've done. And that's saying a lot. I mean, we're literally recording this podcast on the 3-year anniversary of Avengers Endgame.
Right.
Which, talk about ambition. That was 20 some odd movies in the making.
Right.
But this, as far as kind of story, spectacle, scale, what they're attempting to do here is beyond.
Yeah.
Beyond.
Talk about the whole thing that this podcast is predicated on, expanding the multiverse and, traveling across it. This is the definition of that.
Yeah. So, leading up to that, we kind of wanted to jump on and kind of explore Doctor Strange's journey, not just as a character, but also Benedict Cumberbatch as an actor and, how we got here. How did we get from Iron Man 2008 to now?
Right.
Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Right.
We did talk about a couple weeks ago about in our casting what if episode, Joaquin Phoenix was originally attached to the Doctor Strange role. Thought it was a good idea at the time.
Yeah.
That's when he was floated around. Benedict Cumberbatch, who eventually became Doctor Strange, was being floated around. But I think a Joaquin Phoenix Doctor Strange would have been a little more macabre.
Right, and I think another testament to that is Scott Derrickson, and I'm going to talk about that when we talk about the first Doctor Strange movie. I really enjoy Scott Derrickson in his filmmaking. He's a really good horror director. And on top of that, he's just got like one of those minds that's just built for, these types of stories. And I think that's why he got the first Doctor Strange movie. And I think him and Joaquin Phoenix coupled together would have been very interesting. But the only thing is we're still a Disney property. Yep. And I don't think that plays well, for a larger audience with children, families trying to go. I don't think it's the same film. And we touched on that last week. It's a very different film. It's a much darker film, and it's a much more kind of, I don't even know the best way to say it, like an indie type of film. Like it's not going to feel like a Marvel property, which, at the time Marvel were introducing these characters, they said we need to kind of streamline a little bit, but you can
keep it basic.
Yeah, keep it basic.
Stick to the basics.
But the only caveat to that is, Scott Derrickson did what he had, and there's a lot of talk that was the most underrated Marvel movie. A lot of people still think that way, and I'm on that train as well. It's a very kind of surprisingly intimate Marvel movie that I really enjoy.
Yeah, I remember leading up to, I think, Infinity War, me, like so many others, where we were watching the films, and that was my biggest takeaway upon rewatching the MCU films was I walked away thinking I liked Doctor Strange better watching it again than I remember liking it walking out of the theater. And I don't know why. Maybe it was just like kind of like a latent Marvel fatigue kind of setting in and walking out of Doctor Strange going like, yeah, that was fine. But, it was your typical kind of hero origin story. And then rewatching it, I was like, wow. Yeah. This there's a little bit more.
Yeah, there's a lot of complexities and subtleties in that film, and I really enjoy it. Just
the visuals.
Yeah, the visuals are just absolutely. Talk about ambition at the time. That was the ambition piece at the time. So I think that's a really good installment, and just flexing the muscles of what can be. And I think Loki kind of, adhered to that. WandaVision kind of adhered to that. But I mean, that's kind of the second one in the train. If you're going to go off of maybe Guardians of the Galaxy as the first one, that's the second one that was like, this is something that's kind of different.
Well, yeah, this is another one of this is what Marvel was so good at, and why the MCU has sustained what it's sustained, is they did such a great job of building from one thing to the next, right? They started with, Iron Man and Captain America and Thor to an extent, but even the first Thor movie, a lot of it takes place on Earth.
Right.
So it's still, even though it's about a magic hammer wielding god of thunder, it's still pretty grounded.
Right.
So that's where a lot of the first few movies take place, is they're all kind of grounded, Earth based, just not street level, but it's Earth based, it's grounded. And then, they kind of took the next step up, leading up to Age of Ultron. They did, Thor the Dark World, which is a little bit more spacey, but still has some Earth elements. And then they fully explored the space element in Guardians of the Galaxy, and that was kind of the next plateau, was exploring the space element. And then, you go Guardians of the Galaxy, Thor Ragnarok, just goes absolutely ballistic with that. And then Doctor Strange is introducing that third element, the magical element,
which is such a big piece of the MCU. It's just commonplace in the MCU at this point. Yeah, we don't get there without that.
Right, and I remember, when before Doctor Strange was made, they were like, how are they gonna do this? Like, how are they gonna introduce just magic now? Is it gonna be like technology based magic? Or is it gonna be like real deal magic? And that's what it is. It's real deal magic.
Right.
And people have their complaints about the magic in the first movie.
Yeah, but it does a good job. It explains it, even if you don't agree with it explains it right then and there. It's just you're pulling different energies from different universes, and if this new movie is going to tell us anything, and I'm going to use a different movie, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, it's not that people, and it's funny, like, to get a little, off track, like, that's why I use the name when we named this whole thing, because it's like, people don't understand the magnitude of infinity. Like, it's a number that's not quantifiable because it keeps expanding and it never will stop. Like, that's the whole thing. So, like, pulling, energies from different dimensions, it's like, it's an infinite number of dimensions. So it's like, all these, like, rules that we base off, like, for technology, science, all those things, like, they're not just going to apply because it's a different universe that it takes place in. So I think it's a pretty solid explanation. And I mean, Tilda Swinton as the aged one also kind of, lends credence to the fact that I just immediately believe it. She's wonderful in that first Doctor Strange movie.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's another performance that kind of grew on me upon a second rewatch. I was like, no, there's a lot more to that character than maybe I first realized, which is true for a lot of it. So, Doctor Strange, it's like the typical origin story. Right. He's a neurosurgeon, little bit of arrogance, it's very, very cut from the Tony Stark mold as far as, where that character starts. His journey is, he's kind of the top of the top in his profession, doesn't take a whole lot too seriously, including his surgery. Yeah. He's listening to music while he's like guessing songs while he's performing like brain surgery on somebody. So
there's got to be some like laws on that, but I guess not.
Yeah, but he's got Rachel McAdams in his life, who he's quite fond of, but they have kind of this kind of icy kind of relationship because he's a bit of a prick. So yeah. So yeah, that's kind of where we start with Doctor Strange, and then texting and driving, man.
Don't text and drive.
In a Lamborghini.
In a Lambo.
In a rainstorm.
On a windy road.
Not a good look.
Yeah. So like, I can't wait for him to like complain in this movie like that. You guys just broke the multiverse. I'm like, you shouldn't have been texting and driving. You could have avoided all this.
Yeah. So he gets in this horrific car accident. Probably should have killed him.
Yeah.
But
And then, I mean, if you want to jump the gun a little bit, which we'll get to, the what if piece of this, because the what if piece might be possibly the biggest piece out of all of this. It's the fate type of deal that really, plays into Doctor Strange, and you don't realize it until you hit Infinity War / Endgame, how like integral he is to the universe and the multiverse itself.
Yeah. So he gets fixed, sorta, but he's real mad at the procedure that was done on him because it ruined his hands, so he can't be a surgeon anymore. And he's like, what am I without my surgery.
Yeah, and then Rachel McAdams tries to tell him, like, you can be a consultant, but he's like, this is what I do.
I'm better than everybody else.
Yeah.
Like, nobody else can do what I do.
Right.
And, nobody else is going to benefit off my knowledge.
Right.
If they have an inferior skill set.
Right.
So he sets out, spends $1 bajillion, presumably, to get to find some way to fix his hands.
Right.
Then he comes across a story about a guy, is it Pangborn?
Yeah, Jonathan Pangborn.
Yeah, and he was like, look, I was crippled and I went to this place, Convertage, and I learned some things, and look at me, I can play basketball now.
Right.
And Dr. Strange is like, all right, okay. I'll check it out. So he sets off on this journey to find
and
Convertage.
This is the one-way trip. This is the last stop because he spent his last dime getting there.
Yep. And he gets there, and he gets to the door, and he's met by, who else? Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Yes, all-time great actor.
And he's like, hello, what do you want? And he's like, I'm here to learn things, to fix my hands. And he's like, get out.
Yeah. then he gets beat up in an alleyway.
Yeah. And then he does like the it's like the martial arts movie thing where he sits outside the dojo for X amount of days. And then he's let in. And they're like, all right, Doctor Strange, we'll maybe teach you some things.
Right.
And he meets the Ancient One, and she sends him on his big acid trip.
Yeah, and this is like the first... This is
the debut of the Spirit Punch.
Yeah, this is the debut of the MCU Spirit Punch.
My favorite technique.
Yeah, a lot of people's, favorite scene from the MCU is this. It's just absolutely bonkers, and it's like, again, going to the fact that, like, the multiverse is, like, it's not as simple as just different worlds where, like, something slightly different. It's, like, completely different variables that can, could create, like, a universe created out of volcanoes. I don't know, just, like, something that, like, does not make sense. Like, that's kind of, like, the trip that he went on. And, like, the whole ideal is, like, you think this so simple, and you think you're and that's really, and it's crazy, the scene where the Ancient One dies and Doctor Strange is like one of the most impactful scenes, because she says, like, it's the whole thing she's been getting, like, it's not about you, like, this whole multiverse, like, it's so much bigger than just a guy trying to fix his hands, like, we need your help to do more, like, there's so much more that you can be doing.
Yeah. And so he gets back from his hatchet trip, and he was like, what was that? She was like, it's magic. And he's like, get out of here with that nonsense. And then, basically starts to come around to it. Because she's like, all right, well, you can go then.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
really
have anything
smart,
to teach you.
because she plays on the practicalness of, like, somebody that's a doctor. Like, she shows him, like, what does she show him? Like, what do you call it? The guy with all the arms? Like, whatever that thing is.
The Vitruvian Man?
Yes, the Vitruvian Man. And then she shows him, like, an x-ray. She's just like, all these look the same, don't they? It's just like, because they kind of are. You're thinking about it too literally. Like, you need to think about it, like, a little bit more conceptually, and it's gonna work.
Yeah, so he's in. He buys in. He gets his little room and board, and then off on his magic journey.
Right.
And he learns some firecracker kung fu.
Yeah, firecracker kung fu. Still the greatest way to explain that.
He's not getting it, though. He's like, I can't do it. My hands, what am I going to do with my hands? And then the Ancient One's like, look at him. He has no hands.
Yeah.
And he can still do magic. And he's like, all right, I guess. You got me.
Right. And then all while this is happening...
Yeah, we haven't talked about the villain.
Yeah.
there's a reason.
Yeah.
Not great.
Not great until... somebody else steps up and says, I'll be great.
Yeah. So Mads Mikkelsen.
Yes. We love Mads Mikkelsen here.
We do. I just saw Fantastic Beasts.
Yes,
He was pretty good in that.
Yeah.
So he's Caecilius, who's like a former pupil of the Ancient One, and he's like, you've been hogging all the ancient tricks, Ancient One.
Yeah.
I'm out. I'm building my own gang.
Yeah.
And we're going to free Dormammu from the Dark Dimension.
Not Dormammu.
And the Ancient One's like, you better not, Mads Mikkelsen. And he's like, I'm going to
get real mad if you do this. If you do the thing. And then he steals a couple books and he does the thing.
Yeah. So that's basically his character arc, essentially. Right. But he's also, it goes a little bit deeper than that, because he's explaining to Baron Mordo, who Chiwetel Ejiofor, who's like, and he's like, look, the Ancient One is lying to you.
Right.
Like, she's got all these secrets. She draws power from the Dark Dimension.
Yeah.
And Baron Mordo's like, get out of here.
Yeah.
The Ancient One would never.
She would never do something like that. That's balderdash.
Yeah.
That's preposterous.
So he's on this little mission to conquer the sanctums, the 3 sanctums that are scattered across Earth.
It's London, Hong Kong, and obviously New York.
Yeah. So he's doing that, and if he destroys the sanctums, frees Dormammu, who is this entity from the Dark Dimension who just...
consumes
everything.
Yeah.
And the Ancient One's like, real bad news, that Dormammu. Doctor Strange is like, well, I should go learn some magic.
Yeah.
So he goes and enter Wong.
Yeah. Everybody's favorite Wong.
Everyone loves Wong.
Wong, okay. Hot take alert. Wong is the single most practical character in the entire MCU. He's the only person that always makes sense at every moment that he's on screen.
Yeah. So he's in the library. He's like the librarian. And Doctor Strange was like, I'd like to check out some magical books, please. And Wong is like, no.
No, you can't.
You can't.
You see, you can get those books over there.
You can't even do the firecracker thing yet.
Yeah.
You think I'm going to let you read some books?
Right.
And then Doctor Strange just can't mind his business. Mm-hmm. That's the theme of this character. Can't mind his business. So he learns the portal thing after the Ancient One teleports him to Mount Everest, and she's like, well, see you later, Steven. You know, this is the sink or swim moment for him. Right. Essentially. And he swims.
Yeah.
He gets it, and then lo and behold, he starts, you know, because he is a brilliant man.
Right. It's like he starts progressing faster than everybody else, just like it's like alarmingly quickly how fast he's learning everything.
Because he's a legitimate genius.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, you know, it makes sense for that character that he would pick things up so quickly.
Right.
And even, like, Baron Mordo's like, all right, this guy's getting... So he's stealing books from the library.
And then Wong kind of catches him, but he's like, keep going. He's like, as long as I know, just keep going.
Yeah, just don't touch that book over there.
You see those books that has all the chains and the ancient, you know, ruins on it? Don't touch that. And Doctor Strange is like, what if I do, though?
Guess what? Doctor Strange can't mind his business.
Yeah, he can't. That's the theme with Doctor Strange, man. He just can't mind his own business.
So eventually, he's using, you know, the portals to steal books, and he's using we see this in WandaVision where he's using his astral form to read while his physical body sleeps, and that's how he's also picking up the knowledge so quickly, and then he finds the book.
Yeah, he finds the book. And also, he finds the Eye of Agamotto.
Yeah, and he's like, ooh.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's cool. I want that.
That's a nice...
What does this do?
Yeah.
And then, lo and behold, it's an Infinity Stone. Yeah. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, because this was the era where if you were a Marvel movie, you had an Infinity Stone in it.
Yeah, so he uses that. He discovers it's an object that allows you to manipulate time, and Wong is like, what are you doing?
Can you leave that alone? Maybe, you know what, Wong in the Ancient... Maybe you guys should have that locked up a little bit better. Man just walked right in there and took it, and you guys didn't even take it off of him. You guys just let him have it.
He's like, you guys have been hiding this the whole time? And he's like, yeah, because do you see what it can do?
That was the worst hide job I've ever seen. They didn't hide it.
And then, lo and behold, Strange is like, I got it now. It's mine.
And nobody does anything. They just let... Well, I mean, just to jump forward again a little bit, the whole reason is because, like, it's the fate thing, because the Ancient One knows where Doctor Strange will lead. Like, obviously...
We get that, you know, that drop happens in Avengers Endgame.
Right.
But, yeah, so he gets, you know, he's got magic now, and then Mads Mikkelsen attacks.
Yeah, he does.
He's here. He's attacked in the Sanctums, and he ends up, he conquers the London one at this point.
London one is, yeah.
And then he's going to the New York one, and then Doctor Strange...
Oh, no, he's going to the Hong Kong one.
Well, not yet.
Did he go to the New York one?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Because this is where Strange gets the cape.
Right. Yeah. Gotta fill out the... Gotta get
that comic book accurate costume.
It's just like... It's like literally like a video game where you're getting every piece. Like, that's exactly what they did.
So, yeah, he attacks the New York office. The magic office.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange is there, and it does lead to a pretty... comical kind of dialogue between the two of them.
Yeah.
He's like, hello. He's like, Doctor?
You said Mr. Strange. You said it's Doctor. Mr. Doctor.
He's like, no, it's Strange.
He said,
like, maybe. Yeah. Who's to say?
Yeah. Good on Mads Mikkelsen. He might be a supervillain, but, you know, he's not a bad guy.
Yeah. So they get in a fight. It's like an accident. Like, Doctor Strange is, like, accidentally, like, using his magic, and then he tumbles through a glass case. And then, so this goes back to, so Baron Mordo has, like, a stick, and Doctor Strange is like, how do I get me a stick? And he's like, you don't get a stick because this is a special stick. And he's like, everyone gets one. Everyone gets, like, a thing.
What was that stick? What comic reference stick was it?
The high thing. Jesus.
The Living Tribunal.
That's it. The Staff of the Living Tribunal. Thank you.
And then, everybody that knew was like, what? Excuse me?
Yeah, so everyone gets a thing. Everyone gets a magic. It's like you're starting, like, Dark Souls, and it gives you, like, an ancient artifact. Like, start with one of these artifacts. Doctor Strange is like, how'd I get mine? And Baron Mordo's like, you don't choose the artifact. Yeah. The artifact chooses you.
Yeah, just like Bernie Mac's famous line in Transformers, the driver don't pick the car picked the driver.
Yes.
If you didn't think I was talking about Transformers today, you're wrong.
So, yeah, lo and behold, Doctor Strange tumbles through a display case housing the cloak of levitation, and the cloak's like, all right, I'm on board with you, Doctor Strange. Yeah. And the cloak puts in work.
Yeah, it does. That cloak is an issue.
Yeah.
The cloak's an issue for every movie.
Yeah, so he gets the cloak, and Doctor Strange costume almost complete, which means you're getting to your hero moment, Doctor Strange. And then they're like, Doctor Strange is like, all right, we got to stop Mads Mikkelsen because he's going crazy here. And then what else happens? And he gets injured in this fight with Mads Mikkelsen and company. He ends up seeing Rachel McAdams again, and he's like, look, some things have happened.
Yeah. I've been gone. Sorry I didn't text you back.
He's like, look, I need you to operate on me, and then I'm just going to spirit out of here and fight this guy. Spirit battle this guy.
Right. They do like a cool, innovative way to do it because like they do the charge on your body, like when you lose your pulse, and then it just adds dimensional energy, and he just kills this guy.
He does kill that guy. So yeah, he's on board with the mission now,
but not exactly, because as soon as that happens, he's just like, I'm not killing it. I just killed a man, and I took the oath. Like I'm not gonna, oath. Yeah, I'm not gonna kill another person.
And the Ancient One's like, well, maybe you gotta.
Right, yeah.
And then Mads Mikkelsen attacks again.
Yeah, he does.
And then this is where we get, the moment where Baron Mordo becomes disillusioned.
Yeah, we get three things. We get the Baron Mordo villain origin story. We get the fight of we get the middle piece, action set piece of the movie, which is like the big trailer one that people were talking about, where it's like into the, what do they call it? The mirror dimension. And we get the death of
the Ancient One.
The Ancient One.
Yeah.
She went out like a G.
Her and Doctor Strange are fighting Mads Mikkelsen, and then she's like, get out of here, Stephen Strange, I got this. She calls upon the powers of the Dark Dimension to kind of assist her.
Right, so that's the big reveal, is that the only reason that she's that old and dubbed the Ancient One is because she's been pulling power from the Dark Dimension to keep her age and keep her power.
Baron Mordo was not happy.
No, he wasn't, because Baron Mordo is he's a very by-the-books type of guy, and like, everything that he's predicated on, like, he's been a by-the-books guy, can train these people, but now it's like, your teacher is lying to you, and now this guy that came out of nowhere is breaking all these rules. It's like, his whole world's being just upended.
Yeah. So, but he doesn't have time to marinate on that. And then, yeah, it leads to the talk that you were talking about earlier.
Just a beautiful scene.
The Ancient One and Doctor Strange, where she kind of gives him, like, this is your moment.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not about you, it's about, everything, because Dormammu is coming, like, nothing can stop that, and Sync is like, this is it. Yeah. This is your moment.
Yeah,
Stephen.
It's like a moment on par with T'Challa in Captain America Civil War, where his father dies and he kind of gets the line. It's just like he's holding his father, and he's just like, this is kind of my path. Like, this is what I'm going to be led on for a little bit. So,
yeah,
man, that scene was really, really well done. I mean, Tilda Swinton kind of sells it immediately, and you feel it. You just feel like it's just this really slow motion scene, and you just see like the crack of lightning, and she's just like, I've never been able to see beyond this point. Like, I knew you would get here. Like, we were always going to let you in. Like, you were always going to learn all these things, but I can't see beyond this. And like, that's like the point of life. Like, I can't, there is meaning to this, because like, after all my power, like, everything that I had, I can't see beyond this. So it's like, you need to make meaning out of this.
Yeah.
So for other people, not you.
Yeah. And in the true spirit of one of the greatest films of all time, Rush Hour 2, it's on to Hong Kong.
Yes.
And the last sanctum is under attack. Doctor Strange is like, hey, Wong, let's roll. Mordo, let's roll. Mordo's like, I don't like this.
Yeah, and Wong's there.
Yeah, Wong's already there.
But it gets revealed that, boom, it already happened.
Yep, it happens. Wong dies. And then Doctor Strange is like, well, you gotta break the one rule, Barry. You gotta do it. You gotta do it now.
You gotta break the rule. And he uses the Mind Stone.
Time Stone.
The Time Stone. These stones. Yep. Reverse time. You give me an Uno reverse card.
And then Baron Mordo's like, what?
You did what? You saved Wong's life? How dare you?
Doctor Strange was like, all right, well, I'll do you one better. I'm going to go get Dormammu.
Yeah.
And we see Dormammu in all his smoky, big demon face glory, voiced by Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah, right.
Which is pretty great. And then he's like, Dormammu, I've come to bargain.
The most innovative ending to any of these movies
fantastic.
At the moment.
Dormammu's like, get out of here, Doctor Strange. And then he activates the Time Stone,
right.
which you're like, why did he do that? This is why he did that. Yeah, Dormammu kills him, and then 100 more times. And Dormammu was like, all right, what is this?
Yeah, what do you want? What do you want,
Doctor Strange
man?
is like, well, what I've done here is I've trapped us in a time loop forever. And Captain America style, I can do this all day.
Yeah. It's like, we can chill here, talk war stories for a little bit if you want, or you can leave and just not come back, and I'll let you go.
Dormammu was like, all right, fine.
That's all right, okay.
So
Earth's not even that cool anyway.
Yeah, Dormammu leaves, he takes Caecilius with him.
Right, and they turn into the famous Doctor Strange, villains, the mindless ones that are just cannon fodder, but...
Yeah, goodbye, Mads Mikkelsen. It was a good run.
Yeah, it was. Go be in Rogue One now.
So he gets back, and Wong is like, cool, thanks, Doctor Strange. And Mordo's like, how dare you?
Yeah, and he utters one of my favorite lines, and I'll let you do it because this is your favorite line in this whole thing.
The bill comes due.
Always. Oh,
and Doctor Strange is like, all right.
Yeah, relax, man.
I guess I'll see you in Doctor Strange too.
Right, yeah.
And so that's where we leave Doctor Strange.
Yeah, you got any other thoughts on just the movie as a whole? Just some
man, I just really liked it.
Me too.
I think the only issues I have with it is just Caecilius is just not interesting.
Yeah, exactly. And I think a little bit more fleshing out, because I think he did throw away the line that him and Mordo were kind of similar because their families were taken, but Mordo took one approach and he took the other approach.
Yep.
Beyond that, like you said, very one-dimensional villain. And, it's sad because Mads Mikkelsen's a phenomenal actor. But beyond that, I mean, just some quick notes. Michael Giacchino's score, which is still running rampant. That man just... It was that ending shot of the movie where he's just looking at the Sanctum was just, ramped up by Michael Giacchino. The guy's an absolute all-star.
Yeah. So he got a promotion.
Yeah, he did.
He got promoted to the keeper of the Time Stone and the overseer of the Sanctum of New York, because that's the Sanctum that he helped save.
Right. Because... I guess, what do they say? Brother Voodoo's brother?
Yeah.
Dies when he's guarding that sanctum?
And then we get a post-credit scene of Baron Mordo. Or did this happen at the end of the movie?
No, it was the post-credit scene.
Post-credit scene, yeah. So Pangborn is playing basketball.
Yeah, he's just hooping.
And Baron Mordo's like, hey, you've been fixing your crippled condition with magic? And Pangborn's like, maybe. And then...
Yep.
Mordo takes away from him. He's like, why are you doing this? And Mordo's like, too many sorcerers. Boom. Credits roll. And then the next time we see Doctor Strange, Thor Ragnarok.
He's got gloves now. He's got the comic gloves. So, like I said, he keeps adding pieces to his armor.
So we don't see him much. There's not really much to talk about his appearance in Thor Ragnarok, other than you're like, is he getting better at magic? What's going on here?
Yes, he is. And this is the arc that we're talking about, the magical arc and his personal, power arc. And he's improving really, and if you thought he was improving fast, he keeps getting better and better.
Yeah, I mean, he out magics Loki.
Yeah, he does, which is
pretty easily.
Which is interesting. Yeah, it lends to the fact that he's he's getting to the Sorcerer Supreme level.
Yep. And that's really all you see of him. He helps Thor find Odin.
Right, that's the big thing. But the bigger thing was that Doctor Strange says, I keep a list of, all the magical beings on Earth and in the universe, or in the, galaxy, basically.
But has
universe. But has he?
Because...
Wanda just was...
Well, that.
Yeah.
And then he kind of gets blindsided by Thanos.
Yeah. But Thanos isn't a magical being, though.
Well, keep an eye on him, Doctor Strange.
I understand. You know what? I gotta respect it from Doctor Strange, because he's just like, that doesn't seem like my problem until it is.
Yeah,
it does become his problem, but I just like that he's just like, it's going
to become his problem right now.
Yeah, he said it's not magic, so why do I care?
Avengers Infinity War, and Doctor Strange is just hanging out in the Sanctum with Wong, trying to order a sub, and then kaboom! Mark Ruffalo falls through the roof.
Yeah.
He's just like, Thanos is coming. Yeah, and Doctor Strange is like, oh, God.
Man, I was hungry. I didn't even eat.
He meets up with Iron Man. Hilarious exchange of the Sherlock Holmeses. They're very good.
Oh yeah, that's that's the big test, acting wise, that you need to do immediately is the two of them together, because they're, like you said, they're the two jerks, and they need to you got to see how they play off
each other.
Yeah,
and they definitely try.
Yeah, and
Iron Man's like...
Iron Man loses the mean guy off because
he's like, look, Thanos is coming, you have an Infinity Stone, use it. Doctor Strange is like, I won't. I'm just gonna keep it.
I won't, because I already saw Avengers Endgame. I absolutely won't.
He's like, I'm keeping this.
Yeah.
Keeper of the Time Stone.
Yeah.
You know what the Keeper of the Time Stone does?
Keep the Time Stone.
Yeah, keep the Time Stone.
Until he does it.
And Iron Man's like, that's dumb.
Yeah.
He's like, all right. Well, Doctor Strange is like, well, there's another Infinity Stone arm. Where's the Vision? And Iron Man's like, dunno.
And Doctor Strange, rightfully so, is like, excuse me? What do you mean you don't know? Like, again, I love how practical they are. They're just like, what do you mean you don't know where he is?
Yeah. And then Mark Ruffalo, who is getting caught up on the MCU,
just like,
Age of Ultron.
Right.
He's like, what happened? And Iron Man's like, we got in a fight.
Yeah.
And I'm not friends with Captain America anymore. And he might know where the Vision is. And Doctor Strange was like, all right, fine. Mm-hmm. Call him up. And then,
yeah, I like the line they do because Iron Man's just like, Doctor Strange's like, who would know where the Time Stone is, or the Mind Stone is? And then Iron Man's like, probably Steve Rogers, and Doctor Strange's like, oh my god, oh no. and then Hulk's like, what do you mean? He's like, what's wrong? He's just like, you haven't been around for a little bit, bud.
Yeah. And then Thanos' lackeys show up, Ebony Maw, the biggest...
Mm-hmm. The biggest simp in the universe.
Simping for Thanos, and we get a good magic off between Doctor Strange and Ebony Maw. Doctor Strange loses.
Mm-hmm. He does lose.
He's kidnapped, he's abducted, and Ebony Maw's like, I'm gonna get that Time Stone. Mm-hmm. Doctor Strange is like, you will try.
Yeah, you will try.
And then Doctor Strange is off in space. Iron Man and Spider-Man pursue, rescue Doctor Strange, and then they're like, well, we could go home. Doctor Strange correctly is like, we should just turn around and go back to Earth. Right. And Iron Man was like, or hold on, we can fight Thanos.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange is like, all right, Iron Man.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
So they land on Titan. They cross paths with the Guardians of the Galaxy. Again, incredible scene there. Yeah. What master do you serve?
Right. He said, I don't know. He said, I don't know. Jesus.
Yeah. And then Thanos shows up. He's like, I hear you got Infinity Stones, Avengers.
Yeah. Doctor Strange is just chilling there.
It's such a good moment.
Yeah. He's just sitting there. He's just like, oh yeah, you're much more of
a Thanos.
Right.
Again, just a jerk off between. Time code that. Maybe edit it out. No, we're not editing it out.
There's no edits.
Yeah. So Doctor Strange and Thanos have their little... Well, before that, Doctor Strange is previewing the battles ahead with the Time Stone. Mm-hmm. Iron Man's like, what is happening over there? Doctor Strange was like, I just saw every Endgame.
Like 4 billion of these things.
He's like, how many did we win? He's like, one?
One of them?
One of them?
Never tell me the odds.
Never tell me the odds. So yeah, he's preparing. You don't know what for. You don't know why.
Mantis is like looking over and he's just like, your friend's going crazy over there.
Yeah, he transported to every eventual future, seeing how to beat Thanos. Then Thanos rocks up and he's like, hello, I'm here to take your Infinity Stone.
What's going
on?
And
then we get a really neat fight between the Guardians of the Galaxy and Spider-Man and the Avengers. Well, Iron Man.
Right.
This is where Doctor Strange uses all the magic.
Yeah, so like they get, dispersed really quick and then they just are dealt with. And then Doctor Strange pulls up and he's just like, they're just some people that have been in space.
This is Thanos with 3 Infinity Stones at this point. And he's using them.
Yeah, he is. He uses all of them.
Yep.
And Doctor Strange pulls out all the tricks. Yeah.
He's not using the Time Stone. He's just using his magic. And you're like, holy smokes, this is a crazy action
This is the greatest thing I've ever seen. This is amazing.
And then they almost get the glove off. And then Star-Lord...
Star-Lord...
has his infamous fumble the bag moment.
Tell me you didn't do it.
And then, so Thanos recharges, powers up. Thought he killed Iron Man at one point.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a second.
Please no.
And then, he's got the Avengers pretty much dead to rights, and Doctor Strange is like, all right, I'll give you the thing. Take the Time Stone. Thanos is like, thank you very much. Goodbye.
I'll take that.
And then Iron Man's like, why'd you do that? And Doctor Strange was like, it was the only way.
Right.
And you're like, ooh, what does that mean?
It's getting mysterious out here.
And then, fast forward, Thanos wins. Doctor Strange is erased, snapped out of existence, and
Wong happy. just for context, Wong, as soon as they left and they got abducted, Wong and Hulk are still there, and Hulk's like, I gotta go find Captain America, and Wong's like, cool, man, I'm gonna go do my job.
Wong clocks out.
Yeah, he clocks in. He just clocks in for work. He's like,
as Wong is prone to do.
Yeah,
just wants to be nowhere near the main plot.
I love it because my theory for Doctor Strange 2 is that Wong's gonna die because he's too close to the main plot.
I'm not trying to hear that. I'm not entertaining that.
Search your feelings. You know it to be true.
So yeah, Doctor Strange is snapped out of existence, but fear not, we're in the Endgame now. He gave us the title well before Avengers Endgame came out. Sure enough, Endgame arrives. Doctor Strange returns. In the infamous portal scene, he's back doing more magic, and then he
holds up water for
a bit, and then Iron Man's like looking around, finds Doctor Strange, and he's like, tell me this is the one we went. And Doctor Strange was like, I'm not going to tell you that, because if I tell you that, it's not going to happen. But then he does the one, he holds up the one to Iron Man, and Iron Man's like, all right, it's go time. It's time for me to die. So Doctor Strange gets his biggest rival killed.
The Mustache Bros have been reduced to atoms.
R.I.P. to Iron Man. Doctor Strange is like, all right, goodbye. I've done my job. And then, I guess we should talk about the Ancient One for a second, because she's there, she's explaining how everything happens, and this is what we alluded to earlier, where she's like, you're a couple years too early, Stephen Strange is still practicing. So this implies that she knew Doctor Strange was going to become who he is.
The Sorcerer Supreme. She's probably wanted him to be her predecessor.
Yep. Couldn't do it because he got snapped out of existence. So Wong's the Sorcerer Supreme.
I love. So we're on to Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah, because again, Infinity War and Endgame, Doctor Strange doesn't do a ton, especially Endgame. He doesn't really do much. So yeah, we are on to Spider-Man No Way Home, and Doctor Strange's back. Can't mind his business.
No, he can't. What if I help the kid? We'll just help the kid.
We don't really need to relitigate Spider-Man No Way Home, because we did a whole episode on it.
We did a whole month on it.
So Doctor Strange obviously plays a prevalent role in that, plays a prevalent role in the explosion of the multiverse, and can't mind his business.
Can't mind his business. Yep. Then we're on to WandaVision. Where he notoriously didn't show up.
Yep. Conspicuous by his absence.
Right.
Then we get to What If, which is probably the most important Doctor Strange stuff after the first Doctor Strange movie.
Those 2 episodes. So episode 4, still my favorite What If episode. Just one of my favorite pieces of Marvel content. So good. Yeah, it's so grim. It's really grim, and it's just really it's just so sad. And it goes down to the sacrifice you need to make as a hero. All these things you can do. You need to give one thing up. Can you give that thing up? And he's like, no, I can't. And then it turns him into essentially a madman, but a madman with, relatability, something that everybody kind of wants. I just want to save that one person.
Obviously,
I don't care.
Referring to Strange Supreme, as he has been dubbed, the alternate version of Doctor Strange, who has absorbed all the magic and has become nigh indestructible, undefeatable.
Right.
Defeats original recipe Doctor Strange.
Right. Just defeats Doctor Strange, has 99% of the 100 strength of the Guardians of the Multiverse. Just is the only person that actually matters there.
Yeah, pretty much defeats
one of the most
Infinity Ultron.
One of the greatest beings in existence.
Yeah, defeats Infinity Ultron.
Is Jeffrey Wright going to be in Doctor Strange too, you think? Think he might show up?
That's fun.
As the Watcher?
I've been dying to see him as the Watcher in a live action thing.
Because assumingly the Nexus, that point where we see in the Doctor Strange trailer, that's gotta be that little sphere that he's trapped in, right? That Doctor Strange...
Yeah, his own little pocket universe.
Right.
Which is what happens to his universe, is the Watcher's, he's too powerful, basically, for his own good.
Right.
And for his own universe, that the universe literally collapses in on itself.
Right.
And the Watcher's like, hey, man, you suck. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm just going to leave you here until I need you.
Right.
And then he needs him.
Yeah, because we got more movies to make.
Yeah,
so
and Infinity Ultron showed up.
Yeah, oh my god.
And he was like, whoa, Doctor Strange, help.
If you thought Vashon was an issue, wait till you get to Ultravision.
He was like, help me, Doctor Strange. He's like, all right, fine, I'll help you.
Yeah. So I won't be happy about it.
No, I won't be happy about it. But then he develops a little, soft spot for his crew. But, so yeah, that's kind of the last we see of that Doctor Strange variant, and we don't know what he's up to or what he's doing.
Yeah, he's just chilling, and original recipe Doctor Strange goes to see him.
Yeah, presumably.
Right.
That's who that is.
Right. And now we're to Doctor Strange 2. So like I said earlier, I'm gonna ride this out until we see it in theaters, because there's a couple elephants in the room that need to be addressed. I'm gonna save the one that I really want to see, and I talked about this during our trek to No Way Home, and it's the character of Doctor Strange himself. But I'm gonna say that for a little bit. So the 2 other elephants it's the multiverse piece of it. It's the actual, now we're gonna really start to hit the ground and what comic books can be in these storylines. It's just different versions of people. We're gonna see them pop up. It's gonna be really interesting to see, different versions of Strange, different versions of possibly some characters we love. 2 is the properties thing, the properties that Marvel now owns, which is everything now. They have 98% because I guess the 2% is the Spider-Man shared stake.
Morbius.
Yeah, and El Muerto. 2 projects we can't wait for.
Morbius 2.
Morbius 2. Too fast, too Morbius. Okay, so we're there. So obviously Professor X we don't know which X-Men universe he's coming from, but he's in there.
Or if it's a totally new Professor X.
It could be. And the only thing about that is I think they're going to try to keep it, fan servicey and, simple for people. So I wouldn't be surprised if it is just that Professor X, from whatever timeline he came from. And then on that Illuminati front, I mean, just a quick, if I'm the guest, it's too convenient that it's those Ultron sentries that are escorting him through the halls for there not to be an Iron Man variant there. So I've really, calmed down. I do not think that Tom Cruise is in this movie. Wow, I'm there now. I don't think he's in this movie.
So what do you think then?
I just think it's going to be...
You think it's going to be RDJ?
I don't think it's going to be RDJ either. I don't know who it can be. Maybe it's almost like a Morgan Stark situation. Like maybe it's something like that. And the other thing that it really could be, if they really wanted to get crazy, it could be the Nathaniel Richards version of Kang, where he's Iron Lad, just a little bit older. That could be something that they play on, just because he also would maybe do the Ultron sentries as well. You're gonna have, I think it's a universe where Captain Marvel is Monica Rambeau. I think Captain Carter's gonna be there. Professor X. It's probably going to be Baron Mordo's one of them. I think that's going to kind of be that Illuminati, and I think it's going to be one of the Mr. Fantastics, whether it be Miles Miles Teller's never going to touch that ever again. You have
Young Griffin.
I think it's gonna be if you're gonna do Patrick Stewart, I think we're gonna do Young Griffin. And if I'm to put somebody that previously was in this movie, because he even said I might be in another movie. It's Mr. Chris Evans. I think they're gonna do the Fantastic Four thing where he's gonna be like, Cap, it's you, and he's just like, who's Steve Rogers, and just fly away.
Yeah, I think that's what I am looking forward, obviously, to what this movie is going to do, but I'm looking forward to those neat little moments that are for sure going to be in this movie.
Right.
I think that's the most exciting part. Not the most exciting part, but it's an exciting part.
Right.
Just to get a little taste of what's going on.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And now we're on to the part 3, and this is the one that I really am excited for. And it's funny, in a movie where, especially off of Spider-Man No Way Home, where we're in this realm where it's like fan service and cameos and characters that you grew up with coming back. The thing that I'm most excited for is the line. The bill comes due all... This is finally going to be the reckoning of Doctor... Like, we need this. Like... Yep. And I think what also helps, funny enough, is having Sam Raimi as your director. Like, in the last trailer...
we should know that, too. Yeah. Directors changed.
Right. So Scott Derrickson notoriously said, I want to make a straight-up horror movie, and I guarantee you, he wanted, full reign, which, like I said,
he also wanted to make a more self-contained Doctor Strange movie, which presumably would have probably just seen Doctor Strange go up against Mordo.
Right, and it would have been him against Mordo in possibly, again... Maybe even in the multiverse, but just more of like, it would have been exploring like what the Ancient One teased in the first one. Like, there's dark corners of this universe. It would have been it would have probably been a tried and true horror movie.
Yeah.
And again, it's a Disney property, so they probably said, we can have horror elements, which we already have had some in these movies. Yeah.
And especially with the Wanda stuff.
Yeah, and Kevin Feige did double down on that, and we are going to see zombie versions of them, which we got in What If. But
yeah, it was that, and it was also Marvel being like, look, we're telling a story here. Right. And we need you to kind of hit these beats,
right? Which
is kind of the same reason that Edgar Wright left Ant-Man, for much of the same reason. And it's nothing. Honestly, it's nothing against either the directors for their position or Marvel for theirs.
Right.
There's a reason why Marvel is as successful as it is, because they have been able to tell this, infinite number of stories.
Right. I want to know where the line was, like where it happens, where like this turned into like essentially like, because I made the point, I can't remember when it was, like at this point in Marvel, unless it's an origin story, it's probably going to be large scale. Like it doesn't matter. Like the Marvels is probably going to be large scale. Like we might even deal with like the Kree Skrull War, like everything that if it's not like an origin story for a character in a movie theater, it's going to be a scale. Like there's going to be like big, either like Earth or universe shaking stakes, no matter what it is. So I want to know when the flip switched and they were like, oh yeah, we're going to tell a multiverse story for this. That's like a really interesting thing that I want to know about. But regardless, we are there. And like I said, so the third piece, it's the build cut. We're going to see, there's just this shot from the trailer where it's just like half of his face is shaded and it's just like a close up of his face. And it's just like, oh, it's game time, Doctor Strange. Like now we're finally going to get like, if you thought we got that in that Thanos fight, like we're really, because now, the other piece of who could be the villain is Wanda. We didn't even talk about her, which we don't even really need to. We talked about her last week, but that fight might be the one where people are going to rant and rave about for weeks and months to come because it's happening.
There's going to be a bit of an element of this where Wanda is kind of the villain for the first bit, of this. And obviously she's not going to stay the villain the whole time. I think it would be actually interesting if she was kind of more like a villainous character throughout, even beyond this, but I don't think that's going to be the case.
I think she's going to help him to some degree because there's going to be a bigger evil.
Save Wong.
Why did you say that name? Yeah. Save the children.
Yeah.
Vision, do you think Vision's going to be in this movie?
I don't.
Do you think that Loki's going to be in this movie?
I do.
I also think he's going to be in this movie. It was just... And then I guess the third part, do you think that Kang at any point, or just a version of Nathaniel Richards is going to be in this movie?
I think he's going to be in the post-credits scene.
And I think this is going to be the Thanos coming out with the glove at the end of Age of Ultron. Like, fine, I'll do it. This is going to be the one where he's going to be like, yeah, I'm here and I'm about to wreck shop.
Yeah, I think they're going to have him show up in a post-credits scene.
I think so. The big overarching thing that I think is going to happen, my big theory is this movie is going to be the start of the collapse of the multiverse, and I think they're going to do the Secret Wars arc. Like, I think whatever happens at the end of this movie, I think it's going to be like one pin falling, and it's like that one domino falling, and then it's going to be like we expand the multiverse, and then we're immediately going to collapse it back down over time. Like, and it's going to get to the point where like and I think Doctor Strange is also going to get inspired from this multiversal Illuminati, where he's going to go to some of the Earth's heroes and be like, yeah, we need the same thing. Like, because I can't, like, he's probably going to go to like, I can imagine him going to like Captain Marvel might be somebody he goes to, like, because obviously we don't have Iron Man, we don't have Black Panther, we don't have
Captain America. Well, we have Sam Wilson.
Right. And I mean, getting later into like the Secret Wars arc, Captain America was like immediately, and I love that, and I don't even want to divulge into it, but I love it because like Captain America's like, we got to do the right thing, and they're like, no, there's no right or wrong. The universe is ending and we need to kill these other, like, there's no right or wrong. Like, you can only use that, good guy mentality for so long.
Yeah, through this movie, I think we're going to establish kind of Doctor Strange and Wanda as the two kind of pillars of this next phase of Marvel.
Yeah, Doctor Strange is essentially the new Iron Man.
Yeah.
And I think that what they're going to try to do is whoever's going to play Reed Richards, I hope they do it where it's like they understand like how pivotal of a character he is in the source material. So he's not Captain America in character sense, but like the scale of how big Captain America was, he's that other figure that's also there.
Yep. Totally agreed. But yeah, next week, again, it's here. We did. Yeah, we're back.
We did it.
We will have one episode prior to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
The other thing that people are, excited about. So we're gonna do a Moon Knight 1 through 5 review
because the finale won't be out by the time the next episode comes out.
Right.
Tied with a Multiverse of Madness kind of preview and our full expectations and all that stuff for Multiverse of Madness. But yeah, a little bit of a shorter episode this week, but that's because one of us has to go to work.
Unfortunately.
Which one is that? Who's to say?
Who's to say?
So, anything that you wanted to talk about quick?
No, not really. I'm just really excited for this movie, and I hope that we're gonna get some cool cameos. It's gonna be crazy. Like, it's gonna be just a nuts experience in theater, and I think Marvel's done a really good job at keeping this one really under wraps. I mean, if the Patrick Store, and we talked about this during the Super Bowl trailer kind of reviews that we did, if they're willing to give up like the first piece of a different version, or the second one, because of Spider-Man No Way Home, like if they're willing to give that up, then what did they not tell us?
Yep, exactly. That's exactly
so, is this movie 2 hours and 6 minutes? Was it true, or was that a false report?
I think it's 2:20 something.
Because I heard like they were like, I don't know if it was fake that they were talking about this movie was only 2 hours. Who knows? We're gonna be in the theater regardless.
Yeah. And it's going to be crazy.
Right. Just because a movie's short or long does not...
2 hours, 6 minutes, yeah.
Okay, so just a PSA, that does not dictate, the enjoyment of a movie. And also, I hope everybody understands, cameos should also not dictate your enjoyment of a movie. Mm-hmm. Maybe not the enjoyment, but like if a movie's good or not.
And also, America Chavez is making her MCU
Yes,
debut.
America Chavez.
We should not gloss over that.
No, that's going to be really awesome. And she's going to be a pretty dynamic character because it's going to be... it's going to be really cool to kind of see, like, this is the first... She's going to be the exposure to them kind of being able to cross the multiverse. I think that's going to have to do with also Wanda wanting to find her kids is going to be through America Chavez, so...
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to do it for us this week. Like we said, a little bit of a shorter one, but that's okay. You can follow us on Twitter, @ProjectINF_pod. You can follow us on Facebook, like us on there. You can subscribe to us on Apple, Spotify, or any myriad of podcast hosting websites or apps. You can follow us on Instagram
at the Project Infinite Pod.
Thank you, and look forward to next week when we talk about episode 1 through 5 of Moon Knight.
The critically acclaimed Moon Knight.
Yes, Oscar Isaac
killing it.
Amazing.
Oscar Isaacs.
Oscar Isaacs plural. Ethan Hawke has been incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Not surprised. No surprise there. No. And just the story, totally different from anything that Marvel has attempted to do thus far, which is saying a lot, as as we just covered with Doctor Strange's journey in the MCU and WandaVision and Loki last week. Moon Knight is definitely up there as far as ambition and as far as differentiating itself from everything else. And then we're gonna talk Multiverse of Madness because it'll be on the eve of that film and Marvel's big not grand finale, but kind of this multiversal kind of arc that they've been building to. This is the tipping off, the tipping point of what they've been building from WandaVision to Loki to Spider-Man No Way Home. So I'm expecting a massive payoff to all of that.
Right.
So looking forward to it. That's going to do it for us this week. For me, from the Wong of the podcast.
Oh, I'm going to die soon. Oh, no.
Stop saying that. Stop putting that out there.
That's it. The bill comes due always. He's
not for Wong.
Because he's gonna get invested, and then that's it. That's it.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Peace.